We're going to use Chris in a minute to demonstrate some easy exercises you can do at home or in the gym to help your back feel a lot better by strengthening your glutes. But first, let's talk about the role of the glutes in helping avoid back pain. Now, most of you think that the glutes are exercised by doing exercise where you take your leg back on the butt blaster machine or lifting your hips to strengthen your glutes to push your hips forward. But the functional role of the glutes, or when the glutes have to contend with movement, they actually do something a lot different. The gluteus maximus muscle, for example, comes from your spine and the tissues of your lower back, cross your hip and actually connect into a band of tissue called your iliotibial band, which runs all the way down your leg and attaches to your lower leg. Then it picks up another muscle that runs and goes and attaches underneath your foot. So think of the glutes going all the way from your spine, across your hip, down the leg and under your foot. Now, if you look at the top part of the glutes actually go across and connect to the latissimus dorsi muscles, or your back muscles on the opposite side. That's why when you walk and you put your foot forward and your foot goes in, you swing your arm the opposite direction, which helps pull one end of the glute away from the other end, which gets tension in it. Let me show you really quickly what I mean with this band. So if we put this band underneath my foot, so when I'm walking, the foot's going to roll in to transfer weight from right to left. And as I'm transferring weight from right to left, my arm swings across the other way. And you can see that as I swing my arms and turn my torso, this band actually gets more tension in it. And that tension is what protects the joints. Because obviously if we got a joint on one end of the band and in between and the other end, the tension on the band slows my joints down as I move. So when we think about the lower back, it's the movement of the entire body that turns on the glutes and protects the back. So what we want to do before we go into strengthening the glutes, we want to loosen up the muscles that wrap around the hips, and then we're going to go into some exercises and assessments using Chris to make sure we get strong glutes and a pain-free back. So Chris, do you want to just show us really quickly? You can use a tennis ball at home to loosen up the muscles of the glutes and the legs. If you can just put that ball underneath your left butt for us. Good, and he's finding a sore spot. It's pretty easy to find that at home. If it's too tight, just use an older tennis ball. This is going to lift his left hip off the ground a bit, so he can use a towel or a t-shirt to support the right hip. And if he wants to increase the pressure, he's going to put his left ankle on his right knee, and he can tip out towards that. And you can do any sore spots you find all the way from the tailbone all the way out to the outside of the leg. And when you find a sore spot, just stay on it until it releases. And he's found a sore spot, I can tell by his face. And he's going to do either butt for about 2 to 3 minutes, finding any sore spots. Then he's going to do the muscles of the leg. So let's flip you over onto your stomach. And let's loosen up those tissues on the front of your left leg. So all he's doing is finding any tension from the hip down to the knee. He's going to stay on a sore spot for 15, 20 seconds until it starts to release, and then he's going to move to the next spot. Like I said before, if it's too much tension, he can use an older tennis ball, or if he needs more tension, he can use a lacrosse ball or a baseball. Let's move into some of our assessments and exercises. So as we know, we need to move the body in all ranges of motion. Forward, side to side, and in rotation, because that's how you walk. When you walk, you transfer weight in as your hip moves to the side, so that's our side to side motion. As your weight comes over your leg rotates in as you turn your spine, so that's our rotation. And we also are obviously moving forward, so we need to strain or stress the body in a forwards-backwards motion. So that's what we're going to do. Let's start with our side-to-side motion. So Chris, come on right over here, and all I want you to do is put your feet about hip-width apart, and all he's going to do is he's going to gently transfer weight to the side. Now, a lot of people, as they transfer weight to the side for us, great. You can see his knee kind of wants to come with him. Now, when you're walking, you need to transfer weight to the side, but your weight needs to stay over the inside of your foot so you can transfer weight to the left foot. If you don't, your glutes don't activate to stabilize your hip and lower back, and you end up falling to the side and straining the structures of your lower back. So all you're going to do is shift your weight, make sure your knee stays over the inside of your big toe, and let's transfer it to the other side. If at home you find that your knee's kind of coming with you, get back on the floor and massage those structures around your hip, and that'll enable the leg to stay in because these structures will be a little bit looser. Good. And let's go back and forth now. Good. And shift into a little bit more. He's starting to move well. If he wants to turn that into a more dynamic exercise, he could hold a medicine ball in his hands, which would obviously be more tension. Let's rotate the torso a little bit more. The more he rotates, remember, the more we're pulling on those glutes, and they're now activating. You feel that on the sides of your butt?
Yeah.
And they're decelerating his body as he moves side to side. Perfect. Good. Let's now look at the muscles that run all the way from your lower leg up the back side of your body, all the way up your spine to your head. And they're obviously muscles you need to be able to slow you down as you transfer weight over one leg, because it's preventing you from falling forward and straining your back. So what I want you to do, let's hold this for balance. Let's stand on our left leg and just go forward and then come back up and stand. Just like you're walking, right? Good. Perfect. Now, as you do that, I want you to tip at your hips a little bit more. Good. Perfect. And stop when you get back to me. Great. Let's straighten that left leg out. Straighten it for me. Straighten, straighten, straighten. Beautiful. Lean forward. Do you feel if I take this away, you're actually falling to your left a little bit?
Yeah.
I can push you off balance really easily. So it means that this glute isn't holding your pelvis and spine in the right place. So what I want you to do is bring that right hip forward and bring your spine over towards the center a bit more. Good. Do you feel that glute activate a lot more?
Yeah.
So use that and see if you can get into that position a little bit more. So all he's doing is bending at his hips, keeping his spine upright and his hips square. So he's transferring weight forward instead of falling to the side. And do it again for me and stand up. Good. So bring that right leg forward. Good. And as you go into that, arm goes up and back. And let's see if you can do that and keep your right leg now off the ground as you come up. Good. And let's see now if you can get rid of this. Good. Now, do you feel yourself leaning to your left a little bit?
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is bring this hip forward and come over this way if you can. Good. Do you really feel those muscles on the side of your butt?
Yeah.
This is glute medius and minimus, which are lateral butt muscles holding his leg and pelvis. And stand up for me now. And this is a big progression. If you're doing this at home or in the gym and you find it challenging, you're right, it is challenging. Let's try again. Let's try if we can do 3 or 4 in a row. Obviously, if you start to do this correctly, and he's still shifting, I'm going to help him come back this way. Good. You feel that?
Yeah.
And then stand back up. Keep this knee off the ground. Keep this leg up as you come up. So we'll keep this muscle under tension and stand up. Keep that leg up. Beautiful. And go again. Fantastic. If he wants to make it more difficult, he can put weights in his hands. But this is challenging enough right now. You really feel those glutes?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Our last exercise, because now we've worked his butt side to side, slowing him falling forward. Now we're going to work the rotational component, okay? So let's come over here. Let's start you right here. I want you to just go down and stand up. And as you do that, I want you to rotate.
Okay.
Good. Let's rotate that torso. Great. Now he's doing this very well. He's falling forward a little bit, so I want you to be upright. And remember, that rotation of his torso is what's going to turn on the glute. So if we're thinking about the left butt, he's doing this actually really well. Let's face the camera so we can see what's happening here with your foot and knee. So as he turns, his knee's still staying forward and in so that he can transfer weight to this leg when it comes forward. A lot of you will find that as you rotate this way, that knee wants to come with you, and that's going to put you off balance. So when you do this, make sure your knee's in as you rotate. If it can't stay in, go back, do some more tennis balls. And just step up and put that foot there. Good. And go into the rotation again. Beautiful. Feel that butt working? Good. And come on up again. And remember, it's this rotational effect, or this ability to use the whole body in all planes of motion, that is going to strengthen your glutes and protect your back from pain. And if you want to progress that, let's do this and just step up onto the bench right here. You can do this at home just using a chair or a low stool. So now go ahead. Good. And step up and just tap. Good. And again. Beautiful. And if you want to progress this, you can then come forward and you can kick something up here nice and high. Good. That makes it very challenging. But remember, at home, don't progress to these more difficult exercises until you can do them correctly. This is not about challenging your heart rate. This is about challenging your system correctly so that you build a body that works correctly and protects your back from injury. Thank you very much, Chris. So when you're designing glute exercises for a pain-free back, or when you're doing them at home, make sure you loosen the structures first and assess the way you're moving before you go into these progressive exercises. That will make sure that you retrain your body to move correctly, protect your back, and make you a lot stronger in the long run. I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you next time.